What's up, guys? Our Tailboy here. Today we're doing another video. Today we're taking a look at the UCP Universal Camo Pattern. Let's begin. Well, I guess this is kind of a really weird situation about it here. So, talk about the camo itself. Yes, I am actually talking about this notorious and probably labeled as the worst camo of all time, which that can fit the description on everything, which you could probably know. One. Second of all, it actually isn't like the prototype itself. Yes, you heard right. There was this whole camo trials, from 2004, which this was developed in 2004. And the weird part about it here is, yes, this camo wasn't in the entire thing itself. Two camouflage that's probably well known for is Scorpion or OCP, which that actually, and of course the camo that in question that they've ultimately chosen was the brush over struck or stroke. Yeah, or the desert over stroke or struck brush. Yeah, sorry about the name itself. I'm kind of a little fumbling the bag on that name itself, but yeah, they actually got that camo as the ultimate winner, and of course in 2005 they didn't even deliver the promise on that one. In fact, they've actually decided making this of all things, the UCP, which is yeah, if it was a video game, people would have been pretty mad about it. So a giant oopsie on that one. I mean, to be fair, it's not going to be good about it here. So it ultimately became probably the most notorious and one of the worst camos ever. It doesn't blend into anything and could be great for urban environment. So the pattern itself, so you could definitely know the pattern. It actually had the same share camo pattern or the color to it. So let's talk about the camo itself. So we got is dark, which is a darker gray, lighter gray, tan, and that's it. Yeah, that's it. That's the weird part about it here. What's so kind of weird about it here that this is the exact same color palette that was used for the ABU. So yeah, this was at the time they were replacing the M81 pattern. Things like the MARPAT to ABU, NWU type series, 1 and 2, and then ultimately 3. And of course, yeah, I kind of forgot one camo pattern. I must have kind of forgot. But, okay, let's see. So, let's get to the top piece first. Okay, this is actually completely different from the rest, which you could probably know for one thing about it here, is this is more of a newer style, too. It's actually in a newer style called ACU, which, if you definitely know, the camo pattern is UCP. In the other hand, as many people calls it as ACU, as the camo pattern, that is a different name for it, because the reason why they call it as ACU, to put it bluntly, this one, UCP, means for Universal Camo Pattern, which I know I'm going on a tangent right about, what name of the camo is, but the ACU is Advanced Combat Uniform, so that's what it is. And yes, this is in fact the ACU style, so you could probably know. First of all, is the difference on this one is, of course, is the Mandarin collar. Now, the Mandarin collar was introduced in the UCP. And, of course, another one is usage of Velcros, which you could probably see from the whole thing itself. It also have, like, a zipper for the thing itself. And, yes, here it is. Here it is. It's called as, or American Combat Uniform, or ACU. So this one I have is a flame resistant. This one made from it also have is rayon, para-aramid, nylon, American Appeal ink. This one's made in '05, so this is like actually before, or actually was started from this production. So yes, the Velcros to this. Of course, the breast pockets is slanted, gone from more of the upper top to slanted to the thing itself. So that is in fact the front area for it. And you could probably another thing about this one is the zipper would have is like this UCP tab to it, so make it a little easier for that. So that's that is kind of uniquely different. Another thing that I could probably know is you can actually put your nameplate and your nameplates on both the sides. One for, I guess, U.S. Army, and the other one's like a name piece for it. Of course, there's also the ranking thing, which I'll actually get to talk about why this is maybe a good and a bad thing for a reason. Alongside with these, which, yeah, this is the, you can actually put patches and, of course, the U.S. flag on it. And, of course, this one, when you definitely know that little black thing, that is, in fact, the IR tabs. And that's another positive for this one is when you actually take this, it's actually on both sides, so that's a pretty good one about it, is you can actually put stuff in this pocket, too. That's another cool thing about this. Another thing about it here is this one is also had like this, also having like Velcro to put stuff inside of it. Maybe something like elbow pads inside, which, yeah, I do have an elbow pad. Oh, no, it's... Yeah, don't worry, I'm trying to... Yeah. Okay, that's... I think I would put, like, something like a little padding on that. With a little hole inside of it, too, which I don't think that was intentional for a reason. As you can see, with this one, that one also can... Of course, you can also use this to adjust or tighten the wrist. Now, let's get to the back itself. So, back itself, there's nothing. Bare bones, nothing. Which, that's about it for the UCP pattern. These are pretty good constructed on the camo pattern, so that is probably not bad for it. So now let's get to the pants itself. So the pants itself, you also have is the belt loops all around to use a belt. There's also a little button for it. Again, that was, I guess it's, you know, it's more like on the level of if it's not broken, don't fix it type of style, which is, that's more of how I roll my style. If it's not broke, if it's good, don't fix it type of style, which is good. Also, I've actually bought a couple pairs of these. And the weird part about it here, this one does not came with this. And this is the drawstring thing. And let's go see. So this one I got, like, oh, one. That's ludicrous. That's, a little cursed, I'm gonna say here. I doubt that's like from '01. That gotta be a joke. I doubt that's, yeah, that's from the MSN number. That's weird. You got, two pockets to normal open pockets, like a normal pants, you got is the little pouch thing to put stuff in there. So you can actually, on both sides. This one also is reinforced, but you're not going to... Oh yeah, you can. I guess you could put pads in the thing itself, so... I doubt so, but so wishful thinking on that. And on both sides, it will have is the ankle strap to adjust and tighten your ankle. Now let's get to the back itself. Now the back itself, this will have is the cheek pockets. The one I have has buttons on the thing itself. So that's another thing about this. Sometimes they'll have is the Velcro, and sometimes they'll have buttons on the thing itself. And at the back of the pants, they will have is these two tiny pockets. This one is also Velcroed, so you can put stuff inside of it, so... You could probably know for that. So now let's get to the tests themselves. And I'm going to point this out, and I know I forgot this, as many facts about it. So, they actually had another variant of this thing, which I kind of forgot about it. So, they actually replaced one of the patterns with coyote, probably something like the tan with a coyote brown, and actually called it as UCP Delta. And that camo may be a good camo, but the damage was already done how notorious under the name UCP. So let's begin testing with the camo itself. So let's go talk about the pros and cons for the UCP. Now, the UCP's entire, the entirety of the ACU style, this is where they introduced the whole ACU style. This one actually still be used today, like things like the OCP and the multicam, which those are pretty good. And this is actually a pretty good for like snow camo type or rocky territories, which that is one of them about it. But let's talk about the cons themselves. This is not really good for desert camo, as you could probably know. So you could probably another thing that many things about it here is in fact this could also basically be the double-edged sword for it. It could be great for customizable patches, but you can all know what I'm going to talk about a pretty serious thing about it here is people decided to buying patches attached onto it and claim themselves to be soldiers. Yeah, the whole stolen valor thing, which, if you're just wearing this without without the patches, but just the American flag, basically reversed and all, that, or have no patches at all, you're totally fine. But if you basically claim yourself, put a bunch of patches on, like ranking patches, or have a bunch of medals and stuff like that, yeah, that I consider that a stolen valor. Which, yeah, I know that the comment section is going to be pretty, rampant and wild. So, just to point that out in there, and yeah, it's pretty bad. And also, there is another weird superstition, and I know this is going to sound crazy to hear this, but if you ever find any of these pieces have a shape of a key at all, you know, with the whole, like, key-shaped hole and all, like, something similar to, like, the key, they consider calling that as a skeleton key, and it's a pretty much of a bad luck for this camo. And yes, for how notorious this camo is, how bad it is, from a terrible camo to something that is, you're probably going to be unlucky to find, something like a skeleton key thing, but I checked all of them, even including like the body armor, the interceptor body armor. I can't really find the skeleton key thing, but I could have if you actually looked in UCP key, similar to this one right here, like that one there, but this one is differently shaped. But if you find something have like that weird skeleton shaped key, that's bad luck for you. So that's a pretty bad deal about it here. So just be careful with that shaped key thing. So I'm giving the UCP pattern, and I know this is going to get controversial saying it, an astounding of, wait for it, a 5 out of 10. It's a pretty bad camo pattern. It is a pretty bad camo pattern, but there are some things you can use for the thing, and just basically be careful for. It's yeah, there's another, yeah. It kind of gave the bad reputation, and yeah, it's kind of deserved. So yeah, it's so bad that it somehow stayed from 2005 all the way to 2019, which is pretty funny to look at that here. Yeah, 2019 of all things. And after that, they become ultimately obsolete for many things about it. It is the worst camo. I've technically seen worse out of all of them. Like, I technically did seen worst camos ever. And yeah, the whole joke of, like, notorious camos of hiding through, like, vintage grandma's blanket on a couch, which that is pretty noticeable by that. And also, yeah, it's pretty funny at the same time, but it's also, became rather infamous for that. What's the really weird part about it? It actually took from 2005 to 2019 to just say, we could just finally discontinue that in 2019. And you can, also, this is one of those most cheapest camos you can get, alongside with things like the M81. Again, M81s are a lot better than this, but for snow camo, like if you don't want to like dedicate yourself with the snow camo, this is probably a good camo for you, which you could probably know for it. So that wraps up of the UCP Universal Camo Pattern. I'm Artoboy, and I'm signing out. I'll see you guys next time.